If you ever watched one of those old black and white detective movies from the 40s and 50s, there was usually some character who was a hard-boiled newspaper reporter. You know the type. Rumpled suit, carrying a notepad, wearing a fedora, usually with a ticket tucked into the hatband that read Press. Reporters back then lived and died by the 5 W's and 1 H. Who, what, where, when, why, and how. Their story better contain all those elements, or their gruff old editor would bark,
"Fix it, or start looking for another job."
Well, that got us thinking. Here at this podcast, as we report on life's little mysteries, we have our own 5 W's and an H. Of course, ours are,
Wait, what the?
Weird.
Wow, whoa.
and,
Huh?
and if we succeed in making you say just some of those things, well, then we can kick back, put our feet up on the desk, and celebrate a job well done. Or at least until that gruff old editor shouts,
That's all good and fine, but what are you working on next?
Yep, that's our cue to get back to work. So welcome to the podcast that answers some of the questions you've always wondered about.
It's the Always Wondered podcast.
Hi, I'm Rick Peterson. Thanks for joining us. We begin with something we deal with every day of our lives.
Like sands through the hourglass, so are the days of our lives.
No, we're not talking about soap operas. We're ripping a page from the calendar and asking, have you always wondered why there are 7 days in a week and how do those days get their names? Well, the 7-day week goes way back, over 4,000 years, to ancient Babylon. The Babylonians discovered that they could see 7 bright objects in the night sky with their naked eye. The sun, the moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Rumor has it they thought there might have been an 8th.
Behold, a bright, tiny orb in the night sky.
No, that's a firefly on your beard.
Oh, never mind.
So 7 became kind of a magical number, and apparently the perfect way to schedule ancient dentist appointments. Now fast forward to the Roman Empire, and they kept the 7-day week calendar, but wanted to name the days. Now they could have chosen almost anything. Animals, kitchen appliances, pizza toppings.
Can we get together on Pepperoni Day?
Oh, I'm busy then. How about double cheese day?
Perfect. See you then.
However, the Romans, being Romans, decided to honor their gods, the ones associated with each of those heavenly bodies. But here's where it gets fun. Centuries later, Germanic tribes, think Vikings, they looked at the Roman calendar and said,
Love it.
They looked at the whole sky object concept and said,
Absolutely love it.
But they had one minor tweak.
What do you say we switch out those Roman gods for our own Norse gods?
You mean like we swap out fantasy football players?
Precisely.
And that, with a little English influence, morphed into the week that we know today. So those names? The first day honors the sun, Sunday. Then a day to honor the moon, Moon Day, which became Monday. Next up, the Norse god associated with Mars, 2. His day became Tuesday. Followed by the Mercury god of Woden. Woden's day gave us Wednesday. The next day honors the god of Jupiter. In Norse mythology, that's Thor. So Thor's day became Thursday. Freya is the goddess of love linked to Venus. So Freya's day is now Friday. And interestingly, there was no Norse god associated with Saturn, so Saturn survived the cut. Saturn's day became Saturday. So next Monday morning, when you're staring at your coffee cup, wondering who invented this insane system, you can thank the Babylonians, the Romans, and a bunch of Vikings. And just be thankful they chose to name the days after their gods, as compared to anything else.
Yeah. I'm gonna need you to go ahead and come in on Anchovy Day.
See what I mean?
The Always Wondered podcast.
From an early age, we're exposed to rhymes. Nursery rhymes,
Hickory dickory dock. The mouse ran up the clock.
Dr. Seuss,
1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, blue fish.
and eventually poetry, music, and even advertising.
Don't get mad, get glad.
So have you always wondered, why do we rhyme? Well, it's partly because our brains love patterns, especially auditory patterns. And rhythm and repetition seem to stick to our minds like gum to a shoe. Our early ancestors didn't have voice memos, post-it notes, or those magnetic dry erase boards that attach to your fridge. So they rhymed in order to remember all kinds of stuff. Recipes, laws, even instructions for surviving in the woods.
Leaves of 3, let it be.
Poison ivy, avoided. Or my personal favorite,
If it smells like feet, don't eat the meat.
yeah, I'm not sure if that was an actual one, but you get the idea. However, here's the really strange thing. Rhymes don't just help us remember, It also makes things feel more true, even if they're completely made up. It's called the rhyme as reason effect. For instance,
Finders keepers, losers weepers.
yeah, it sounds nice, but I don't think that one would hold up in court.
Beer before wine, you'll be fine.
Or,
Beer before liquor, never been sicker.
there are lots of variations of these drinking rules, and I know there are people who swear by them, but experts say it's not the order in which you drink, it's simply the amount. So even though it sounds nice, it doesn't hold up.
Early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise.
Ben Franklin made that one famous. But there are plenty of millionaires who stay up past 8 p.m. and they're doing just fine. The point is, despite these facts, we want to believe these sayings. In fact, researchers have tested it. People rated rhyming statements as more accurate, even when the rhymes are total nonsense. It's like our brains go,
if it rhymes, it must be science.
And because we mistake fluency for truth, rhyming can be found everywhere. Jingles, campaign slogans, even the courtroom.
If the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit.
Yeah, and we all know how that one turned out. What's the bottom line? Rhyming helps us remember. As humans, we've been doing it for ages. And rhymes trick our brains into thinking those sayings are wise. So what's the solution when you get some rhyming advice? Well, just know that for every
you snooze, you lose.
There's a
Haste makes waste.
So just do what you think is best. And when tomorrow comes, worry about the rest.
Hey, that rhymes.
Yeah, sorry, couldn't resist.
It's the Always Wondered podcast.
Television has brought us some unforgettable moments. The moon landing.
It's one small step for man.
Olympic glory.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
The WKRP turkey drop.
As God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly.
Over the years, there have been some outstanding shows. But sometimes TV gives us something bewildering and totally unwatchable. So have you always wondered, what's the worst TV show ever? Now granted, this may be a bit subjective, but this particular primetime network show was so bad, programmers looked at the screen in the middle of its premiere airing and said,
Nope, shut it down.
If TV shows were rocket launches, this is the one that exploded on the launch pad. So adjust the rabbit ears and gather round as we tell you the story of the night America turned off a show called Turn On. Let's set the stage. It was 1969, a time before cable, before satellite TV, before streaming. There were just 3 commercial networks. And that year, Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In had taken the TV world by storm.
Say goodnight, Dick.
Good night, Dick.
It was fast-paced and chaotic, something totally unique for the time, and it became an instant hit for NBC, quickly becoming the #1 show on television. Now, what does Hollywood always do when they have a successful idea?
Copy it?
Yep, ABC wanted in on the action. So they got the producers of Laugh-In to create a whole new show called Turn On. It premiered the night of February 5th, 1969 to much fanfare, billed as a sensory bombardment of comedy.
ABC has assembled your freaks, your weirdos, and we're bringing them into the privacy of your own home.
But when viewers tuned in that night, what they got was a bizarre, seizure-inducing montage of faces, flashing lights, moaning sounds, and jokes that felt as if someone had fed a typewriter into a blender. No host, no music, no set, just cold white space, and no laugh track, only weird computer beeps reacting to the actors. It was the comedy equivalent of a CIA interrogation. Across the country, switchboards at TV stations lit up with angry calls. A Cleveland TV station yanked it midway through the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand by.
Replacing it with a blank screen and an apology.
Our test pattern got more laughs than the show.
Now, Turn On still hadn't aired yet on the West Coast. Their feed was 3 hours later, but several West Coast affiliates heard about the backlash and flat out refused to run the show at all. ABC had no choice but to officially cancel it, making it the shortest-lived network TV show ever, a record that still stands. So the next time you complain about some bad sitcom, as terrible as it may seem, at least it lasted more than 1 commercial break. And then remember Turn On, the TV show that proved the best punchline is sometimes just pulling the plug.
The Always Wondered podcast.
Well, that is going to wrap up this episode of Always Wondered, the podcast where curiosity didn't kill the cat. It just made it really good at trivia night. And as always, we leave you with one to ponder. Have you always wondered, is soup wet food or a chewable drink? So until next time, stay curious and keep wondering. I'm Rick Peterson. Thanks for listening.
the Always Wondered podcast. If you like what you hear, please subscribe, leave a 5-star rating, and a review. Listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you pod. Feel free to offer suggestions for future topics or simply reach out to alwayswonderedpodcast@gmail.com.